Hi, my name is Jeff, and I'm just going to do a quick tutorial about finding scholarly journal articles using Galileo. As you probably already know, Galileo is accessible a few ways. If you're on campus, you can access Galileo through the library website. Also, if you are off campus, the best way is to go through your Unify account and use the link to Galileo there. So I am just going to do a really quick run through in locating scholarly articles. So when you do your search here, first off, I just suggest that you start broad and then use some of the tools within Galileo to narrow your search. So in a simple search, you'll see, I want to first point out the different types of items that come up in a search in Galileo. So you'll see here by the icon that lots of different types. We have books, we have ebooks, we have video, all popping up here. Um, you also, if you look here on the left hand side, limit by type. If I go to show more, this shows you all the different types of sources that you can access in Galileo. So academic journals are top of the list for this particular topic. I did a really simple search for public administration, followed by magazines, trade publications, news, reviews, and books, etc. So, how would you begin to narrow that down and focus it to finding scholarly sources? Well, if you're looking for a research article, it's super easy to use the limit here on the left to limit it to academic journals. Now you'll see that we have this is your map for Galileo, so you can see now that we have limited it to our search for public administration and then the limit of academic journals. Now, the icon here is indicating academic journal down the list. It's only giving us results for academic journal. The next thing is, though, that if you want to do more than just limit to academic journals, if you want to limit it to, say, a peer-reviewed source, then you're going to have to take an extra step. This limit is available. You can see here that it will limit it to scholarly peer-reviewed journals. But let me show you how to do it for yourself. Do it yourself without relying on this limit. If you'll click on the title, then there's a few things that you want to look at when you're determining whether or not an academic journal is peer-reviewed or not, or if it's scholarly. Some of the things that I suggest that you look at, and you can clarify this with your instructor, is the author, and remember I got here by clicking on the title. I'm not going straight into the full text because that is going to make it more difficult to check these things. So if you click on the title, this is called the detailed record. First, you should be able to check out the author's affiliation. This will normally be a superscript number, and then if you scroll down, it will give you what it stands for. You can see, so this author, Alexander Henderson, is associated with Long Island University. You want to look, are they associated with a research institution? Normally, it would give them give their full a full departmental association and all of that. Let's go to the next one to see. So Alina Shevinchenko is associated with this one also doesn't give it. Let's go. Of course, now that I'm trying to show you how it works, not getting the results I want. So this one, you can see, gives a little bit more detail. Senior Research Fellow at the Ragnar Nurse School of Innovation and Governance. Postdoctoral Fellow at the National Graduate Institute for Policy Studies. Professor and Chair of Innovation Policy and Technology Governance. So you can see this one is a student and co-authored with a faculty member. All right, so the next one, professor, PhD, you can see this one. So that's the first thing that I would check out, is to make sure that I am comfortable with the author, that they have a level of authority and expertise that I am comfortable with. So let's stick with this one. This one's from Texas A&M University, Leonard Bright. Okay, the next thing that we want to look at is the source. So you want to know whether or not this is, what type of academic journal this is. So if I click on the source here, it should bring me to a detailed record for the source. This is not always available. But for this particular one, you can see the publication type is an academic journal. It's published by Sage Publications. Sometimes this would be a university publisher. The frequency is 4. When something is peer-reviewed, as you can see it is, then it is going to be it should have it should be published less frequently. What that means is that when an author submits to be published in Public Personnel Management, it will be sent out to scholars in the field that serve on their review board for review to see whether or not it has academic rigor sufficient to be published in this journal. So that's why the frequency is less. The time to publish for an academic journal article is a pretty extensive time period. Not only do you have to consider the research that goes into it, but then the review process as well. The next thing that I would look at is the abstract. An abstract should include language that's directed to scholars or professionals in the field. So the abstract should give you an idea of one, is it sharing research findings? What type of article it is, and then also, is it a scholarly article? Can you tell from the language here? Now, if we go into the PDF, another one that is fairly obvious is that it should include a bibliography. It should be fully cited. And you can see here that it does include its references. The next thing about that is that not only should it have a bibliography, but what type of uh, articles is it citing? So you can see that we want to see plenty of scholarly articles that are being cited. So American Review of Public Administration, Journal of Nonprofit and Public Sector Marketing. It can include other things like the New York Times is listed here, but predominantly we want it to be a part of the scholarly conversations, so it should be citing other scholarly works. And that's what you should be reflected in its references. Also, you want to look at, going back in, I didn't mean to come all the way out of the PDF. It should also it should follow a format that shares its methodology for its research, its findings. It should also have a discussion about from the research. So you can see here it shares its method, shares its findings, and then a conclusion, and usually it will share suggestions for continuing the research. One step that you don't have to take, but oftentimes that I will take, is I will carry this title over into Google Scholar and search it there to see how has this article been cited by others. So we can see in the reference list how it has cited other articles, and you can see that this is from 2016, which I'm hoping explains why it hasn't been cited by others yet. Just to kind of give maybe another example that may give us, a lot of these are 2016. Let me see if I can find an older published article. So this is 2015. So let's see if I can show you how that would look. So you can see now, Global Public Policy and Transnational Administration, published in Public Administration, has been cited 15 times. If I click here, then I can see the different articles that have cited this article and the articles that have cited them. So you can see part of the scholarly conversation going on concerning this topic. Okay, that is a quick overview on Galileo and how to use it to find scholarly articles.